Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw. Oh boy, what a day. It's WrestleMania kickoff press conference day, Larson. I've never thought I'd be so excited for a WrestleMania kickoff press event, but a lot of intrigue going into today's show. The Rock said this is going to be a press conference.
Sorry, The Rock said.
The Rock said the Socko. He said this is going to be a press event that everybody will remember forever. He's going to say, hey, Cody Rhodes, your butt cheeks smell. No.
Yes, there's a lot of intrigue going on, and it was only heightened probably because Cody took to Instagram story specifically today to say, I've made my decision. He's made a decision.
I was expecting there to be like a follow-up one. You know, you hit the button, you hit the thing, and it goes to the next one. It's like, I've chosen Pharaoh's dog food or something like that.
Well, that's what I thought. Like, you'd assume it's because of the Mania main event. You got the press event today, rather than him like, hey, I'm going to lunch here in Vegas. I'm going to White Castle on the Strip. You know?
I've walked a lot, so I'm going to White Castle.
Exactly. I'm going to hit up the buffet at the Mirage.
Nice.
Come join me.
Yeah, come join me.
I don't have the buffet at the Mirage anymore. Anyways, rumor and speculation is really all over the map regarding what's going to happen at WrestleMania. And whether this has all been a work from the start, it's all a shoot that went to a work that's now a shoot. We went into detail about it yesterday, and it gave me a headache. I'm going to be honest with you.
Brother, we were all over the map yesterday. Everybody's all over the map. Dave Meltzer's all over the map. Mike Johnson's all over the map. Steven Larson, where's the map? We're all over it.
Exactly. Add Aaron Varble to that list, Steve. SC Scoops Aaron Varble tweeted a bunch about what could happen yesterday. Said, I keep asking about The Rock's WrestleMania plans possibly changing because that's all fans want at this point. Last night, a tenured member of the creative team told me straight up, we have not been told of any change. That doesn't mean the plan hasn't changed or won't change, or this is a plan all anyway. It just means we're not being told. Marvel continues, and in the end, it's all up to The Rock, who doesn't really care if he's booed or cheered at WrestleMania. Is business in a match that has this much attention as money, like it or not. WWE didn't see those Rocky sucks chants coming on Raw, that's for sure. Thursday will be interesting in Las Vegas today. Marvel followed up. Quote, it was confirmed once again to me today that Rock versus Roman is still happening as of this morning. It's not a triple threat, and Rock is not a referee for Cody versus Roman either. Fans may not be thrilled, but they will be talking.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm not familiar with Aaron Varble's Scoops track record.
Sure. Yeah.
But you know, a lot of what he's saying, it doesn't vary from what other outlets are saying as well.
True. Yeah. This is you look when Rock says this is going to be.
Sorry.
The Rock says, when The Rock says, know your damn role. When Dwayne Johnson mentions that this is going to be the biggest press event, man, there's got to be some twists and turns. CM Punk is in town. He's supposed to be on the shelf.
Yeah, he's injured. Is this a work all along, Steve? Is Phil's tricep fine?
Honestly, how amazing would it be if this whole thing, look, I am totally happy because here's the thing. Unlike those other guys, we don't deal in scoops around here. We read the scoops, same to the fans, and then we talk about the scoops, which, you know, our audience likes to hear us talk about the scoops. But if this entire thing is one big work, I'm here for it. I want them to be playing some 4D chess. I kind of doubt they are, but I'd love it if they were. If this press event ends up being like a Jerry Springer-esque, you know, with CM Punk coming in and talking to Cody while Cody's up there sweating out trying to make his decision and this, that, the other, and then The Rock says, I'm going to be the enforcer or something like that, or I'm going to be in this match. Cody says, I've made my decision, and Rock says, it doesn't matter what your decision is. Your butt cheeks smell. I'm here for it all, man. I think it's so much fun. I hope they do something really out of left field and gets
Same.
everybody going, what is happening?
What if they do this? You mentioned Jerry Springer. What if they get some motivation from Maury Povich?
Yeah.
And they have a doctor come out and say, we have the results of CM Punk's triceps exam.
Oh, that's good.
Opens the envelope.
Yeah.
Your tricep is not torn. You can compete at WrestleMania.
You can compete at WrestleMania. And Cody's like, I want a 6-way for all the titles. We're talking
my
Rock,
gosh.
Roman, Cody, Punk, Seth, Drew. Everybody throw all the titles in a pot, and it's a big scramble at WrestleMania.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's
It's
go,
something
man.
that's never been done before. That's what The Rock wanted.
Right, exactly. The
Rock
Rock says. So, look, man, we're having a lot of fun with this. We're going to be watching the press event live at 4, I think it's 4 p.m. Pacific. Is that
Correct.
right?
7 Eastern,
4 p.m.
We'll
Pacific.
be live streaming, and then if there's noteworthy stuff, which you'd assume there's got to be.
There's got to be.
Because, here, let's go to this Meltzer quote, because
Please.
it seems like everything's going to fall in place this afternoon, this evening. On the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer stated that whatever the plan is, whether it's Rock Roman, whether it's Cody Roman, whether it's Roman Rock one night, Roman Cody the other night, whatever it's going to be, it's all going to fall into place tonight. Should be made clear. These transcripts come to you via WrestlingNews.co. That's what Meltzer said. Whatever they're doing, whether it's a 3-way match, which I was told it was not going to be, but whether it's them
man,
doing...
that comma killed me right there. Whether it's a 3-way, which I was told it was not going to be.
But whether it's them doing 2 matches where Roman wrestles twice, or how they make this thing work, I was told it will likely be completed by the end of the press conference if that is the plan.
Ooh,
What if they don't settle anything? What if they don't settle anything after this press conference?
That's a distinct possibility, you know? Are we going to remember them not settling anything? The Rock says this is going to be a huge deal, man. Yeah, he's on Pat McAfee right now, apparently, as we're filming this.
Dwayne is?
Dwayne, yeah, he showed up on Pat McAfee. I'm sure McAfee asked him some stuff. I don't have Twitter on this particular computer. I'll see if I can find it over here. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is going to be wild. A lot of people don't know what's going on, and I'm hoping they pull something out that's really interesting. So here we go. Here's a quote. Love Cody, love his passionate fans. Then there's the other passionate Cody fans, and they're called Cody crybabies. These grown-ass men.
Wait, The Rock said this?
Yeah, The Rock said it's like, wait a second, hold on. Hey, Dad, you want to go outside and play catch with me? Not now. Not now. Cody's on. Look, The Rock's daughter had to delete her Twitter account because fans go overboard.
They do.
And I suspect that's probably what Rock is talking about here.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
People will go in there and even the people like hijacking other, which I guess is harmless, whatever. But like going in and giving death threats and being rude in any way, shape, or form over a wrestling storyline is asinine behavior.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is. It's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no justification for that whatsoever.
I do think it's mildly funny people emailing customer support at www.shop.com and saying, I ordered a Cody shirt and for some reason you sent me a Rock one. That to me is kind of a funny troll. Yeah. People have to deal with it, whatever. Maybe hopefully they'll get paid overtime. I don't know. But going into... You know, she's number one, the immense pressure on this poor girl to be the daughter of The Rock and enter into the pro wrestling business. She could have taken the easy road, man, you know, but she has a passion for this stuff because the only way you're going to be the daughter of probably a paper billionaire, certainly a real life 100 millionaire guy, is if you really want to do it and you have a passion for it and you want to craft your own legacy under an immense spotlight, and you're going into this girl's DMs and you're saying, you know, all those horrible things. Yeah, go touch some grass. Okay,
yeah, get out of there with that. Get out of there with that. Get out of there with that. No, it's wrestling. It's just wrestling.
Yeah.
Yes, we enjoy wrestling, but guess what? In the grand scheme of things, wrestling doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Let's see here. So Pat McAfee, the Pat McAfee show tweeted this. The Rock says this. All you got to do is sit back, know your role, shut your mouth, and enjoy the ride The Rock is about to take you on.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's an actual quote. It's just the tweet that Pat McAfee show tweeted out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of interested in watching that a little bit. Rock could be pretty damn entertaining.
Sometimes when The Rock says...
If we get 1998 Rock, I don't even want Hollywood Rock. I want 1998 Rock. What, was he problematic or something? Probably.
There's probably a lot of things that a lot of wrestlers said in 1998. You can't say these days, Steve.
You're probably right about that. Anyways, let's talk about a wrestling executive now, Larson. He used to be a wrestler himself. Actually, he's still, like, from time to time, will take destroyers and power bombs.
He busted out a destroyer on Bully Ray, I think.
That's right. Scott D'Amore. Now the former president of TNA, PW Insider, has a follow-up on why he was let go by TNA, saying this. There were a lot of people assuming something salacious happened to lead to D'Amore's exit, but we're told by sources close to Anthem that wasn't the case. While no one is clear as to why this decision was made, over the last day, the belief seems to settle on the idea that Len Asper, the head of Anthem, and D'Amore came to a crossroads where they disagreed on how TNA should be operated, and only one person was going to win that butting of heads, Len Asper. The word making the rounds over the last day or so is that at some point in recent weeks, Scott D'Amore approached Anthem with an offer to buy TNA outright from them, said to have been backed by a letter with a major banking institution, but it was rebuffed. We have heard from some on the Anthem side that it was seen as a legitimate offer that was worthy of consideration, but the decision was made not to accept. Not surprised. This guy's been so closely linked with Impact and its resurgence as a properly run brand that has a positive. Now, I mean, dude, could you imagine the amount of effort and work it took to take Impact's reputation, which was in the hole deep?
It was in the toilet.
It was deep in the toilet.
Yeah,
it wasn't just floating on the top of the toilet.
No, this was on the verge of being flushed. Yes.
Yeah. And this dude took it and really just sort of rebuilt it from the ground up and really turned it into something exciting. And he's like, hey, you guys don't want to put the appropriate amount of resources into this. Like, I want to spend. How about this? I've got letters of credential from this banking institution.
Yes.
I'm backed by the Hearst Foundation, perhaps. I don't know. And he wanted to buy TNA and turn it into and keep on growing it. They said no, and in fact, for even trying to make something really better out of this business, you're out of here.
Yeah. So let's get to this quote from Meltzer. Assuming there's some truth to this, it might illuminate what Anthem's perspective was on this. On the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer weighed in. That's what he had to say. Quote, I think D'Amore thought it's time, to spend more money, try to go after some talent, try to build this thing up. We have a little bit of momentum. And the Anthem people were kind of like, we don't want to increase the budget. Maybe even wanted to cut back on the budget, but definitely didn't want to increase the budget. And it was a standoff, and that's kind of what happened. I think that D'Amore thought it's time, to spend some more money to try to go after more talent. Did I copy the same thing twice? Yes, I did. And it was a standoff, and that's kind of what happened. TNA was coming back. It was getting more popular, but Anthem's whole thing was just to have a product, tape television, fulfill your pay-per-views, your streaming stuff, and do it essentially as cheaply as possible. Whether that is a reason of the split, that was it, or there was some other thing that we don't know. I'm sure it'll be out in the next couple of days. But that's the only thing that I've kind of been told by people is that was a dispute that he had with management. Now, I believe PW Insider in their write-up were pretty clear. TNA, Anthem, made a significant offer to Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it seemed like they were going to go after CM Punk after he was fired by AEW.
Yeah.
Those would be two pretty costly contracts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So it seems like in certain situations, at least, TNA Anthem were in a position where they were willing to potentially spend money. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe those are outliers. Maybe those are talents that they thought, okay, regardless of what budgetary ideas we have, if we have a chance to get these talents to help build our brand up, well, yeah, we got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
It's still strange, but if it really was just D'Amore butting heads with Anthem executives about the future of TNA, and they let him go because of it. It's a bummer because he did a lot to rehabilitate the image of that company.
He
built a pretty strong, based on the reactions of wrestlers who publicly responded to his firing, built a really strong connection with that roster.
Yeah, dude, I'm with him gone and just some suit in the role of president. I don't know about TNA's chances at continuing that momentum. I really don't. Scott D'Amore, like you just said, the reaction that like every single TNA wrestler on that roster has with him, it's kind of like, I mean, dude, nobody speaks bad on his name. Like Lady Frost, I know, had some sort of falling out with them, but that seemed to be kind of an outlier situation. Everybody else, like across the board, really seems to appreciate Scott D'Amore. And that dude really does understand. He understands the business. To do what he did with Impact, and then for them to be like, nah, we're good. We just want to do we just want to spend. We just want to be as cheap as possible. I don't know what the thinking is there. Why you wouldn't look? It's their money, not mine. Yeah, that's really disappointing. That is really disappointing.
It is. It's we've been fans of what Scott D'Amore did with Impact TNA.
Yeah.
There was a stretch where we were watching it, covering it on a regular basis, just based on our workload, our bandwidth. We kind of had to make some adjustments, and so sadly, honestly, Impact went by the wayside. But also, we tried to follow the product best we could. We still watched their pay-per-views on occasion. We watched Hard to Kill.
We just watched Hard to Kill. We did a live stream for that. And honestly, I do think that, and I guess I understand the economics of it, but they took their TV off Twitch, which meant no more, co-streams.
Yeah.
And that was a bummer. And I kind of feel like if they were still doing that, being able to have like live wrestling content on your Twitch channel along with your crowd, I always thought that would have been a really cool thing had WWE migrated over to Prime. Mm-hmm. Because if you get the Prime subscription, maybe they would have let you co-stream it or whatever they call it. I forget what they call it.
Yeah.
Co-host it. But yeah, our numbers were always really good when we'd be able to sit there and have actual live wrestling content, not live, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Co-stream the live wrestling.
Co-stream
content,
the live stuff with
live pre-taped wrestling content.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bummer. It's a bummer that's gone.
So let's speculate here a little bit as far as we don't know what Scott D'Amore has planned for his future. But you think if you're Tony Khan, assuming they have a decent relationship after the admittedly one-way partnership that AEW and Impact had, if you're Tony Khan, don't you get on the phone, you call Scott D'Amore?
No, because Tony Khan wants to book his own stuff.
I know, but
Scott D'Amore is not a. Geez, who's the brain trust there? Sanjay Dutt.
Jimmy Jacobs.
Jimmy Jacobs. Is Jimmy Jacobs in AEW?
Yeah. He's been in AEW for a while. Yeah.
He was in TNA before that, though. He was in Impact before that.
Yeah.
He's not a Jimmy Jacobs. Scott D'Amore is a guy who knows the business ins and outs, and he should be booking shows.
Agreed.
And if I'm Tony Khan, then yeah, I do that. I'm like, dude, what can this guy do with my roster? That would be a massive step up to what they're doing right now. I will almost guarantee you Tony Khan wouldn't see it that way because he wants to book that shit himself.
Yeah. No, I know that. But
I say you do.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's going to.
If you want to add an experienced, highly capable member to your creative brain trust.
Yeah,
I would think you give him a call. But otherwise, I mean, is Triple H going to call him up and offer him a spot at WWE and NXT?
I mean, dude, honestly, if I don't, there's a couple. It's interesting because there are, between, The Rock coming in and Brian Gewirtz maybe having a hand there in WWE, a strong one. Triple H already there. I love to think that what's going on in WWE right now is a collaborative effort. But we know wrestling, like it could be a power struggle. It could be like this camp and this camp. if there ends up being some cleaning of house there, even in WWE, and Brian Gortz wants to stick with The Rock, and The Rock goes off and does his own thing, and Brian Gortz is more interested in like proper TV, because I know he was doing stuff for Young Rock and whatnot. There might be an opening for a Scott D'Amore in WWE high up the food chain, in which case that could be awesome. The other distinct possibility is he takes this letter of credential from the Hearst mining operation and, backing his play, and he starts up his own promotion. I mean, a lot of these wrestlers at TNA, they're locked in, and I know he has his own small promotion, I think, in Canada. But if he has a good business plan to be able to say, hey, I can sign some wrestlers and we can try to squeeze out TNA and be this new third brand. There's a lot of weird shit going on. Rossi Ogawa starting his own shit. Julia apparently sticking around with him, to help him with that before she goes to WWE.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr. for years has tried to get his own wrestling promotion off the ground.
Yeah.
Off the ground, sorry. So, maybe Freddie calls up Scott D'Amore.
Yeah.
And they join forces and try to get this, burgeoning wrestling company off the ground.
I just don't know what any of the contracts look like in TNA. If they did want to make a big splash, you would think he'd need those relationships to then come over, but contractually, who knows where they stand.
Yeah.
But, if he were able to make something to create something, I don't know. He's got some options in front of him. I think anybody in wrestling would be so smart to hire him in a major way, in a major, role. But what does he want to do? Would he want to do that, or would he prefer, hell, maybe after all this time with Anthem, a plush WWE gig with like benefits and stuff would be right. He's like, hey man. And then he could work his way. He's not that old, the guy. He's like probably our age, I think.
Yeah, I would think
maybe a little bit older.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, man. Anyways, before we continue on with our AEW recap, quick moment here to point out we are well on our way to I thought it'd be WrestleMania before we hit 200,002. We blasted past that. We're like 200,300 something right now.
Something like that.
On the road to 201,102 subs. And that's a very exciting goal for me. And so if you guys can keep on hitting that subscribe button, if you haven't already, if you enjoy what you're seeing here at Going in Raw, Stephen Larson, we've been at this for 10 years now, 15 years on the YouTube space, doing the old machinimer stuff. But so do us a solid, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, hit that like. We love the likes over here.
We do.
We love likes. And then also we've got the Friendo Club set up. So you guys saw recently Roman Reigns talking about tribal chief money. Larson and I are trying to get that tribal chief money too, but the only way we can get the tribal chief set up is if you guys get the Friendo Club set up. That's right. Right now, go to patreon.com/Stephen Larson or click join right here at youtube.com/. Brother, I was laughing so hard. Oh my goodness gracious. Even Dope texted me, was like, man, this is hilarious. It's our Stephen Larson fan club kind of thing. And you get bonus episodes, access to question threads. Well, we will read your name in question. You can get Stephen Larson to say your name. And you also get access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. Very exciting thing we got to do every single.
It's very exciting. I get hyped for it.
Every pay-per-view. Man, last pay-per-view was, what was the last one? Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
We had 260 friendos participate.
That was a lot.
We want to get to 300 for the next week of champions, and that's going to include 2 events. WWE Elimination Chamber coming to you at 2 o'clock in the morning, and AEW Revolution coming to you from normal time. So it's a 2-event situation for our latest big predictions challenge right now. Cameron Shank. I still need to send this signed hat to Cameron Shank. I need to do that very soon.
Yeah.
He's our current Big Blue Predictions champion. We're going to get another piece of merch that we're going to ruin by autographing as the prize for the next Predictions Challenge. So be sure to keep your eyes open for that. But the only way you can get it is by getting the Friendo Club set up, patreon.com/Stephen Larson, or click and join right here at youtube.com/Stephen Larson.
Yes. You want to talk Dynamite now?
Dynamite. Big business.
Yeah. Seems pretty clear at this juncture. Literally because in the background of that big business graphic, it says Bosstown.
Boston. Boston.
Boston. But with two S's.
Two S's, yeah.
So we're getting big business from Boston on March
AEW
13th.
Show from Boston.
Was kind of spoiled by TD Garden yesterday. Tony Khan referred to that spoiler in his announcement. At the least, we're getting Mercedes Mone at that show. I suppose there's a possibility that if Okada signs with AEW that he can make his debut there as well, as opposed to Revolution or some other time.
He'd be big business, that's for sure.
It would be Okada being there as well. So not necessarily a huge shock. All confirmed. Just a matter of time. What, 6 weeks? Is that what Tony Khan said yesterday? 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
March 13th, isn't it?
I think he said 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Big business.
Big business. Big bill business. That's cool. I like that they're approaching it that way. You know, what did he say? It's going to be a night that the pro wrestling business will remember forever. I think he's likening it to his
like anything though. That's promoter Tony Khan talking. It's gonna be great. Don't get me wrong. Mercedes Mone and AEW. I'm excited to see it.
The little, kick in his step in this particular announcement.
Yeah.
Makes me think that he's viewing it as kind of an all out 2021 situation where, and that's why I think it's going to be both Mercedes and Okada, load it all up into one big show. They're in Boston and everybody can, you do big entrance for Mercedes, a big entrance for Okada.
I saw that, I didn't confirm this independently. I didn't look myself, but apparently tickets are starting as low as $20.
Oh, they're going to load that place up for Boston.
I think that's the idea, because one of the criticisms about AEW live events of late is that they're expensive.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So if they're looking to fill the building at the Celtics Arena, Boston Bruins Arena, so what, 14,000, 15,000?
Yeah.
And if, it's pretty much basically confirmed Mercedes Mone, Sasha Banks is going to be there with the Boston thing in the background.
Yeah.
And if there's some reference, whether it be officially or unofficially, that Okada could be there. Yeah, it's going to be huge.
Yeah,
and I guess in that sense, yes, it's going to be a night that the pro wrestling industry will remember forever. So, yeah, it's a possibility. Possibility. They make it a huge night. Yeah,
you don't have to worry about where she's going to be 6 months from then. It's just that's a big event, and if they can load that place up with some ticket prices from the 1980s, then go ahead and do it.
$2 sit in the back row. Why not?
I'll be honest with you, man. Like these days, more wrestling promoters need to lower their damn prices. Everything's too damn expensive.
Yep.
Yep. So good for him. Lower those prices, get more people in, get some fans in there that can afford that shit. Some of your more passionate fans are going to be people who are broke as a joke. So, let them in the doors and let them go crazy with this shit.
Exactly.
That's, AEW needs a little kick of excitement. I thought that last night was a pretty strong show. Of course, when you load it up in the way that they did last night, it's going to be a pretty darn good one. Of course, Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland saw maybe what could be considered a double turn last night.
Oh, I don't think there's any ambiguity to it.
You think so? Yeah. Hangman Adam Page is obsessed, capital O, Larson. He's so obsessed. He took out Prince Nana with a chair, and that was the first whoa. Crowd booed that.
So much of Hangman's character is his insecurity. At first, it was his insecurity as it relates to his friends in the elite, because they're all highly decorated, highly successful wrestlers in terms of winning championships and coming into AEW. He didn't necessarily have that level of success.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And he was constantly trying to prove himself that he was just as good as they were.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally won the title, and that was, the huge moment for kind of like the first round of his story arc. Now we're getting to the thing where he's insecure about his spot, his standing within the company, especially as it relates to Swerve Strickland. It's almost like Hangman is playing not to lose in these matches. And we saw at the end of the opening bout, went to a time limit draw. Swerve had Hangman beat again.
He did.
Hangman was not kicking out of that JML driver. Right as the ref's hand is going up for 3, the bell rings. Hangman wasn't budging.
It was wonderfully timed. It really was timed. Yeah.
And Swerve asked for 5 more minutes, so there's a winner. And Page was like, "Nope. You didn't win. You're not going to win. You're not getting your title shot." And he seemed content to not lose. In fact, I think it's not so much content to not lose. He is scared shitless to lose again.
Yeah, he's made. I mean, when you make your entire identity around preventing this dude from getting the world title, then that's going to happen. You're going to get touched with a little bit of the crazy. And so, and you're going to do stuff like that. It's completely logical and within his character. You know, he's been driven to basically insanity. And so when Swerve is like desperate to get this shot and desperate to prove himself, to prove Hangman, this is a really wonderful feud. Desperate to prove himself. And he says, you know how this goes. 5 more minutes. Let's do it. And then Hangman says, nah, man, you couldn't beat me. And he walks away from him. And then Tony Khan says, fine, we're going to have 2 number 1 contenders. It's going to be a triple threat. And Hangman is pissed because he thought he needed to lose for Swerve to get that shot, and he didn't lose. And so he's got a bone of contention as well. Yeah. I thought that was a wonderfully executed moment there, and I didn't quite see them going to that degree with these characters and sort of the double turn there. Yeah. But, you know, and they did it effectively because the crowd was chanting for Swerve when all was said and done. Yeah. I thought this now would be interesting to see where they take these characters from here. But this feud is something special, and I'm glad that they've got this in their pocket because, it made the first 40 minutes of the show. That match was really terrific.
Oh, it was fantastic. This is, when AEW is hitting on all cylinders and booking and telling stories the way that they probably should more often than not, where you have 2 characters involved in a feud and you tell an interesting and dynamic story in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the type of pro wrestling, whether it's in the AEW, WWE, New Japan, wherever, that I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. Is storytelling in the ring, and it's dramatic, and you get emotionally involved in the outcome, and it doesn't require a bunch of 20-minute long promos.
Yeah.
For me, this is when AEW is hitting its stride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know Tony Khan has made references to 2021 when the case be made. That was their creative peak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the Hangman Cody stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So and they're bringing back the rankings, and they're kind of seemingly getting away from the more sports entertainment parts of their presentation over the last year and a half. I mean, some exceptions to that, obviously. But I thought by and large Dynamite last night was a fun show.
Yeah.
There was some fun matches. It was very much focused on telling stories in the ring.
Mm-hmm. I do think that one thing that I really hope that Tony Khan looks at and understands is just how much intrigue, in my opinion, just how much more intrigue you can get out of long-term booked singles feuds. When you start throwing a bunch of trios together, especially when you have, for example, because right now I feel like, for example, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, right? You've got one act in there in the Acclaimed, which really should be dominating the tag team division and being in big heated rivalries with other tag teams.
Yeah.
Not joining forces for some, the sum does the total sum doesn't equal the parts or whatever.
Yeah,
because that's what it is, and we know this is going to a feud. But like Jay White is stuck in a trios with these guys with the rest of the Bullet Club Gold, and dude, it's just he should be right now in a blood feud against another singles guy.
Well, here's the thing: is if the point of the Acclaimed and the Bullet Club Gold, gosh.
That was awesome.
Joining forces was to go after Undisputed Kingdom, then that should be step number 1.
Mm-hmm.
They get together, they set their sights on Taven, Bennett, Roddy, Wardlow. Their paths haven't crossed yet.
I know.
That was the whole idea of them getting together. Is together
their thing. Yeah.
We could take them out in the process. We can win a bunch of titles.
Yeah, yeah.
And it hasn't happened yet. I mean, it really is. It illustrates how uneven AEW's creative could be, because if you follow through on the initial idea of, hey, we're joining forces to take out the Undisputed Kingdom because they attacked all of us.
Yeah.
There's something good there. Right now, Undisputed Kingdom are just like cast adrift.
Well,
there's no real direction apart from Roddy trying to beat Orange Cassidy for the international title.
And honestly, like they could take that in a different direction for sure. But Adam Cole's in a wheelchair. Like
I know, but think about this. What if Bang Bang Scissor Gang are feuding with Undisputed Kingdom, and there's tension between the Guns and the Acclaimed as far as who's going to take on, I know it's the Ring of Honor tag titles, who's going to take on Bennett and Taven for those Ring of Honor tag titles. Then there's tension there.
Yeah.
Because they both, they're in a faction, but they both want to show that they are the best tag team.
Yeah, I thought that was
in that faction
too. Yeah.
There's at least something there you can work with.
Yeah, for sure.
And if Roddy were to win the international title, have Jay White feud with Roddy for that.
Yeah.
There's the way, if they started that feud now, then after Revolution, there's a lot you could potentially do with that, but they seem to have no plans to follow through on what their mission statement was, or at least part of it, which was take out Undisputed Kingdom.
Yeah. And I feel the same way about like the other two mid-card titles are just, Christian has that TNT title, and I think that was a bad move to take that back off Edge right after that match, because I think Edge is the kind of guy, and get away from this Cope Open bullshit. Get him in there with a heated feud with a strong singles guy, with like a Miro or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you can have a strong singles pay-per-view. We joke all the time about poor Malachi Black not getting involved in any single stuff, and that's true. This guy has got everything to be one of your top singles guys, and I kind of feel like AEW really needs to, like, I'm sorry, but Orange Cassidy shouldn't be having this international title for this long. He's not. The most interesting stuff is when you've got two. Usually, if it's two acts, it can be two tag teams or two singles, men or women, whatever. And like, look at right now, Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo. Yeah, there's comedy involved, but Toni Storm is bringing the intensity in the way that her character understands intensity. And it really works. And of course, there's history there as well.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy is like an anti-intense guy. During his matches, he will kick it up to that level. But like, part of it is like the stuff that happens outside of matches, and his character just sort of isn't fit for that kind of intense, rivalry that people really are frothing at the bit to see. And, that title is kind of going to waste on him, I feel.
It is an interesting dichotomy with Orange Cassidy's two international title reigns, because the first one was really good.
Yeah.
He was defending that title just about every week, and we saw evolution in his character. Now maybe, we've talked about this before as a situation where now that he has the title, the subtext is he doesn't want to lose it, and therefore isn't defending it like he used to.
Yeah.
But that really hasn't necessarily been touched on. I know they mentioned here that he has a title defense against Tomohiro Ishii on Collision this Saturday, which will be really good, but Orange Cassidy will win that.
Yeah.
Maybe at Revolution, Roddy will beat him for it.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, it just seems like during his first reign, there was such a focus on telling his story. And the second reign, you can maybe infer a story, but there isn't quite the focus there was on his story as it relates to the title the second time around, and the title kind of suffers because of it.
Yeah.
This Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo stuff is so much fun.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
They have great chemistry, even before they step foot in the ring together to wrestle.
Yeah.
That after the match, after Toni Storm beats Red Velvet in an eliminator match, when Deonna gets in the ring and gets in her face, and Toni just goes up to her.
Yeah.
Smells her face.
She's a creep, man. She's a creep.
And Deonna
she's this hilarious sexual innuendo.
Oh, I know.
Along the way, and then she does this stuff.
Oh, it's great. And Deanna's great too. She was great on commentary. She's advancing the story.
She's playing it right. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. And so many times, they tell the story of wrestlers that used to be friends, and they're not friends anymore. And it doesn't go beyond that kind of superficial level.
Yeah.
And it whether it's creative, whether it's Toni and Deonna, whatever the case may be, they're trying to provide some depth to that beyond just, hey, we used to be friends and now you're different. We're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been really effective. I'm really looking forward to the match. I mean, it's not very often that AEW has most of their top matches booked for a pay-per-view about a month in advance.
Yeah, right.
And is actually doing work to enhance and build these feuds and stories leading into the pay-per-view. Usually it's like a week or two before the pay-per-view where the card starts taking shape. I think we have like half the card already announced.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or plainly obvious.
Yeah.
What it's going to be. So I mean, it's you can see improvements in terms, I feel like, at least in terms of how AEW is approaching their storytelling. Is it uneven? Yeah.
Yeah, like if you look at last week's Dynamite, it was dog shit, and then this week's was really good. And the bottom line is that when you stack it with like interesting stuff that people want to see and not like a ton of foregone conclusion matches, you're going to get some good stuff out of that. Let's talk about another thing that sort of made Dynamite feel big, and that was the closing angle. Of course, Sting and Darby Allin, another match, a tornado match, so it went all over the place. Really good stuff. Sting gets the win for his team. And afterwards, as they're celebrating with Sting's sons in the ring, the Young Bucks show up and just absolutely annihilate everybody in there, including Sting's sons. And it's a great visual because they're wearing all white suits. And Darby gets busted open and starts bleeding all over these white suits. And it was an awesome visual.
A great visual, yeah.
And it was I thought it was an awesome, intense way to sort of finish. You know, again, it's one of those big angle moments that you should be striving to get on every episode of television that you put out there. And I thought it was a really good angle. And yeah, obviously we're getting, and I think it's at least an interesting idea to explore with the Young Bucks, you know, being very open about we're EVPs. They renamed their finish to the EVP Trigger.
Yeah.
I like that. I think it's good. And, you know, just don't have Matt Jackson talk too much and you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And the match should be really, really good at Revolution. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just thought it was a really strong way to end the show. It felt like a big moment.
It did. And the distinction between last week's Dynamite and this week is night and day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
last week felt like a filler episode almost.
Mm-hmm. It did, yeah.
And this week it felt like stories were advancing. Even in this CMLL Blackpool Combat Club feud, which the match was ton of fun. It was a ton of fun.
It was a lot of fun. The match was fun, yeah.
And Claudio had to cheat to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hechicero yet again wrestling circles around Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, that was cool.
And frustrating him to no end.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going. I think there's another tag match happening either on Rampage or Dynamite with Star Jr. and one of the other guys that jumped the barricade last night against Mox and Claudio. I don't know beyond beating like Matt Sydal, what other wins the CMLL talents are going to get. Be cool if Blackpool Combat Club showed up at a CMLL show.
I kind of feel like it's going to be it's going to be the B team from AEW going and taking a loss to CMLL on their territory. That's my guess. Yeah, it would be cool. You want like, you know, your Blackpool Combat Club guys to go over there and at least make an appearance. They ain't taking no losses. There's no way Mox and Danielson are going to take a loss.
You're forgetting someone who can take a loss.
Yeah, I know it's Claudio, but
Wheeler Yuta.
Was he even out there last night?
No, he hasn't been around for a while. Maybe he's dealing with injury or something. He hasn't been around though.
But like, I mean, you know, you got Daniels and Sydal and 2.0.
Yeah.
And those guys are specifically designed to eat the loss. And I think I honestly don't know the pecking order of CMLL. I'm assuming what is his name? Mystico, former Sin Cara. Mystico and the other dudes are probably like their version of Blackpool Combat Club. And maybe those guys will just fight the Sydal guys. And then like, maybe Mox and them won't even get like CMLL's top guy. Like, I'll put it this way. If it's like Forbidden Door, they would never have done Claudio, Mox, and Danielson against Okada, Naito, and Tanahashi.
Yeah.
That would not have ever happened because there's no way you can get a winner out of that.
Yeah.
Like, you have to walk the finish. And I feel like it's, again, not schooled in CMLL. I feel like their version of Okada, Naito, and Tanahashi are going to get the wins on the Sydal guys.
Oh, it's entirely possible.
And I don't know if they're ever going to meet besides like a brawl. You know what I mean?
I will say this. So far, there's been a lot more interesting stuff happening from a storyline perspective with this CMLL AEW partnership than there really ever was as far as the AAA AEW one. Like there's
Yeah,
good matches.
yeah.
We got some awesome matches in AAA.
I'm trying to remember the AAA stuff.
Like there really wasn't an overarching story. You just had Kenny show up. You had
Vikingo. Yeah,
Russell
yeah.
Vikingo.
What else did they do? I'm trying to remember the other stuff they did.
They were just on occasion the AEW wrestlers that wrestled at Triple Mania, and that's kind of it.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas it feels like they're trying to tell a story here.
It does. Yeah.
With the CMLL wrestlers, and that's cool. At least appreciate the effort of trying to tell a story. You know,
I agree. Yeah.
And in the process, it's not just here's a bunch of showcase matches for some incredible AAA wrestlers like we see with Vikingo or Commander or whatever. Hey, we're going to showcase these wrestlers and tell a story.
Yeah.
At the same time.
And it should make Forbidden Door a lot of fun because if CMLL gets involved, then it's sort of a bit more in the, spirit of what Forbidden Door should be. I mean, I think they didn't the first Forbidden Door, they did the Impact stuff? Did they do any Impact stuff there? Or was it strictly
it was just New Japan and AEW?
Strictly New Japan and AEW. Okay.
And here's another thing: if they bring CMLL into the Forbidden Door show every year, because at a certain point you're going to kind of run out of dream matches or matches you can book between strictly AEW and New Japan talent.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And if we keep seeing a lot of New Japan's top stars going to AEW, like Okada signs there too.
Yeah.
Then I don't know how involved, like Jay White, I don't believe was on the card last year for Forbidden Door. I don't know if how Okada's gonna fit or Will Ospreay.
Like you can't say Okada's got his last match in New Japan and then have him face. Was he gonna do Naito at Forbidden Door?
Tanahashi at Forbidden Door again. I know,
right?
Yeah, I know. It just seems like a weird situation. So bringing in some of the top CMLL stars, introducing them to an American audience, and getting some fresh matchups, telling some fresh stories. It seems like a win-win for everybody involved.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I agree. It opened up, Dynamite did, with Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page.
So
again,
good.
like we said. Yeah, the timing on this was perfect. I saw some whining on this online about they never were announcing the time.
They did. They announced when 5 minutes were left.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, they did.
That was just one tweet that I saw.
That was the last announcement for time. Maybe it was the only announcement for time. I clearly heard Justin Roberts say 5 minutes remaining.
All right, gotcha.
And the ref was really communicating with both Swerve and Hangman at that finish, so they got the timing right.
I am really curious just how right the timing was, because that is so hard to do. If I'm the timekeeper, I'm just sitting there waiting for that 1, 2, bing, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Granted, I didn't time it out.
That would
at least
give
for the
me
drama of it. It was perfect.
That would give me so much anxiety to be that guy or to be the ref. Oh my god! They're going to do it right.
They all have earpieces in. They're all communicating with each other. Like Tony Khan is communicating with the ref and the timekeeper, I'm sure.
No, I think you're probably absolutely right about that. But still, oh my god, to trust somebody else in that way. Like, okay, here we go. 1, 2, do it.
I know.
Yeah, I would not be able to cover that up in my face. I'd be like, do it, ring the bell.
I know.
Just
these guys have fantastic chemistry. Even in a match which was booked as a standard wrestling match, they found a way. Coming off of that Texas Death match, which is just 20 minutes of pure violent intensity, they managed to bring the same level of intensity without that level of violence. You believe these two wrestlers do not like each other.
Yeah, right.
And especially in the case of Hangman, he really does not like Swerve Strickland.
Oh, it's so great, too. I mean, dude showed up at his house, and he was, breathing all over his kid.
Yeah. And if AEW wants them to be their Rock Austin, their Okada Tanahashi, you can have these guys wrestle, I don't know, a series of matches every 6 months if the story's still good.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think anybody would complain.
Yeah.
Because so far, 3 matches into their feud, they managed to tell different stories, use different approaches to their matches, and every single one has been compelling in its own way.
Yep.
And it's been fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Fantastic.
So anyways, we talked about the finish already. It's going to be a triple threat there at Revolution, which led us to a Samoa Joe interview. Renee asked for his reaction on that triple threat. He said, "What's my reaction? Joy, merriment, excitement, and elation. I can't believe I'm dealing with this right now. Once again, we celebrate mediocrity. That was a draw. None of those men deserve to be in a ring with me, but instead the powers that be, they stack the deck. You do not want me as your champion, but it is not your choice. I am Samoa Joe. I am the AEW World Champion. Despite your best efforts, no matter what you do, come Revolution, I walk out AEW Champion, and it's only a shame that the both of you will suffer because of it." He was mad. Ooh,
He's so good.
He was pissed off.
Oh, he was not happy.
Nope.
Not happy. Next, we had Toni Storm versus Red Velvet in a championship eliminator match. It was a good match. Really good.
Yeah, this is good stuff here, man.
I like to see Red Velvet get some wins on television because she's really good.
Hopefully this will propel her up, up the card. But again, she's a Ring of Honor talent. Maybe she'll eventually, get past that and get to be an AEW talent, get some wins here.
I hope so.
She got a win on the Collision.
She did. She got the win, the build up to this match. So.
Yeah.
Deanna's on commentary, and she's great.
Yeah.
The finish of this one saw Toni Storm looking for a Storm 0. Instead, Red Velvet rolls her up, gets a 2. Red Velvet's looking for her finisher. Toni ducks that and locks on an ankle lock, all while staring at Deanna, and eventually Red Velvet taps. After the bell rings, Toni refuses to let go. Deanna gets in the ring and steps up to Toni, so that's when Toni finally breaks the hold. Then Toni goes up and starts sniffing Deanna's face. And Deanna's like kind of trying to brush her aside, and Luther has to get in there and separate him. It's good stuff.
He's doing a bunch of He's not even saying anything. He's just finger wagging. Really.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So after that, we had an Orange Cassidy and Best Friends interview. Renee mentions that Orange is wrestling Ishii on Collision. Trent says that's weird. Renee says you guys will be in a 6-man tag on Rampage against Undisputed Kingdom. You worried about wear and tear? And Orange says, yeah, it'll be fine though. And then Renee asks for a medical update on Chuck. And Orange says, Chuck is here tonight and getting checked out. So now we're going to go check on Chuck getting checked out. So we should go now. And then before they leave, Renee's like, no, come here. Bring it in.
Well,
that was pretty cute.
Yeah. Then we got Blackpool Combat Club taking on Volador Jr., Hechicero, and Mascara Dorada. A lot of fun.
I love that one of the other dudes, I think it was Mystico, somebody had on jeans, my favorite, a black polo.
Yeah.
But the black polo was tucked into the jeans, and of course he was wearing his lucha mask.
Yeah.
I was like, if Steve here, if my mom decided to take me back to Paraguay where she's from, and I grew up as a young luchador,
yeah,
dude, I'd be rocking the black polo in the matches.
Yeah, tucked into your trunks.
Yeah, my own spin on it would be not tucked in. I don't like being constrained. I feel like it's like when I go to sleep at night, Lacey always tucks in the sheets, and then I have to kick my legs out, and that's my leg exercise.
You like the sheets untucked, huh?
Bro, I can't do tucked in sheets. I like to burrito myself so that the freaking sheets are under my legs. They're between legs and bed.
See, what I can't stand though is if I'm sleeping and at some point in the night I wake up because my feet are sticking out from the sheets and my feet are cold. I can't deal with that.
Sometimes I like 1 foot cold.
So
I do a one-on-one situation.
I like my sheets tucked.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. It makes me claustrophobic.
That's interesting because then if you just, in your own way, tuck them under your feet in even more potentially constraining fashion.
But I get to decide. I have the control there,
The level of tuck.
Exactly. My tuck level
as long as you
determined
dictate the
by
tuck
me.
level.
Right. Not the bed. The bed shouldn't determine the tuck level.
Let me ask you this.
What?
Does it make a difference say like, I don't know, it's a situation, you're staying at a hotel, it's tucked. And you're like, all right, it is what it is. If it's a light tuck, is that better than a secure tuck?
Yeah.
Or is okay.
Yeah. A light tuck is okay. Like a light tuck is acceptable, but I'm not a fan of any tuck unless it's my own tuck under my legs. In a hotel, first thing I do, I go in there and rip out the sheets.
Interesting.
So that I know when I get into bed, I'll put them under there. If I don't want them under there, I get to do a foot can go loose and go whatever wants to do. But man.
So yeah, we've shared hotel rooms before.
Sure, yeah, right.
Never noticed this. Never noticed you untucked.
I'm very subtle about my tuck
I guess
proclivities.
so. It's like that episode of Seinfeld where George and Jerry are staying at the hotel.
Sounds right. I don't know which one that is, but
one
that's
untuck.
It's a very Seinfeld thing.
George has a conversation with the.
Yeah. Anyways, Claudio. So this is a great finish too. So Hechicero rocks Mox with a running knee. Claudio hits him.
That knee hit flush too.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Claudio hits Hechicero with an uppercut. Hechicero responds with a guillotine leg drop. Claudio kicks out of that. Then Claudio pushes Hechicero into the ref in the corner. And while the ref is there recovering, Claudio hits Hechicero with a pop-up low blow, throws him down, pins him, gets the win. So Mystico, Star Jr., and what is this dude's name? Espringe?
I guess so.
I didn't catch it. I see it.
I did. I caught it kind of, and they had a graphic of like a Star Jr. and Espringe are teaming up against, I think, Mox and Claudio on Collision or Rampage this week.
This sounds like some sort of new tech device in eSpring. Anyways, Espringe jumps the barricade and surrounds the ring, and then the AEW B players, 2.0, Danielson. I'm sorry, not Danielson. Daniels and Seidel come out to even the odds.
Yeah.
They're going to be like at a buffet eating those pins, Larson.
Oh, yeah.
Just eating them. Eating those pins.
The backstage commentary is like, oh, there's a commotion back there. You see Undisputed Kingdom surrounding Chuck Taylor, who's already injured. And they beat him up. And Adam Cole
some more.
Comes in, says, get well soon, Chuck.
Yeah.
At least, they got rid of the crutches. He's in the wheelchair now.
Is that, you think it's better? I think it's kind of a step back, to be honest with you.
No, because
it gives him a Dr. Evil vibe for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like when Roddy was in the wheelchair.
It was comedy, though. That was played for laughs.
But I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, it's the Dr. Evil thing.
He's less hobbly.
Yeah.
But he's immobile.
Yeah. But he's immobile when he's on to a degree with crutches and a walking boot too.
Not a great situation.
No,
for
it's not.
Kingdom.
It's not, and it's a bummer that the injury happened because you think what could have been.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it might have been a lot different if that was.
Oh, it would have been a lot different. But Adam Cole beating MJF for that title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then Tony Khan made the huge announcement, and it's huge. It's huge. Big business, March 13th.
Big business.
It is going to be a very important night for AEW. It will be to have Mercedes Moné, and we've seen, again, uneven, but still, at least on Collision, where I think 2 weeks in a row we had 2 women's matches.
Yeah.
It's a step in the right direction. Still a long way to go. Mercedes joining that division, hopefully, will lead to more focus on the women's division. That's the hope.
I agree, man. I agree. We'll see.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be great on March 13th. In 3 to 6 months is the same level of attention and emphasis put on the women's division as it will be that night.
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. And, I know Tony Khan is saying this could be a huge night for AEW, which will be, and for the entire pro wrestling industry. And that night will be huge, but the follow-through is really where those claims are going to be tested.
I mean, we've been here before with Saraya.
Yep.
And I hope that we don't go there again, but we'll see.
Yeah.
After
I feel like with Tony Khan making these claims, yes, in the moment it's going to be great, but expectations. I feel like until we see the follow through, I feel like the expectations are going to be tempered, at least on my part, a little bit.
No, dude, look, we've been promised a lot of stuff before. We've been probably like even going back to we were there for the big name redacted shakeup, when WWE, and it's like, okay, nothing's going to change. You guys you're saying this, but we know you better. You're not going to change.
Yeah.
And until Tony Khan shows, that he is somebody who can adapt and roll with the times, I hope he does. I'll believe it when I see it. After that, we had Chris Jericho versus Konosuke Takeshita. Finally, we got a win here for Takeshita over Chris Jericho.
Although, why can't Chris Jericho lose to Takeshita clean?
Did you hear what do you think about what Meltzer said about Jericho?
Oh, what did he say?
He said, well, he's their highest paid guy. So I haven't even finished. He's their highest paid guy. And therefore, he should be only taking very rare losses, and he should only take losses against top guys. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said.
Then I did see that. I could probably think of at least 5 other people on AEW who should be the highest paid wrestler on the roster. Chris Jericho isn't one of them at this juncture. When AEW started, that makes sense. That would make sense.
He probably had Meltzer also comes from a very old school way of thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Where if you lock yourself into a contract where you're perpetually going to be the highest paid guy, that in that old school, I think, mentality, that should trump whether or not you're relevant anymore. Well, if you're the highest paid guy, but you're not relevant and you're not I don't know. I've never understood why one necessarily has to mean the other. It's like, yes, back in 2019, Jericho was a big deal.
Yeah.
He was a big deal, but clearly the luster's off a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't done anything interesting with him.
Nope.
And Jericho himself really hasn't done, seemingly. Look, I have no doubt this guy's got a lot of stroke and a lot of sway. And if he wants to do something interesting, then maybe he'll bring that idea to the table. But seemingly he doesn't have that.
No.
And I don't care how much a dude is getting paid. If you're fucking boring, then I don't really care to see you on my TV. If he left tomorrow, I don't think that would have one bit of difference on the ratings.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't affect the ratings whatsoever. One iota at all. And if he's not doing anything interesting or vital from a creative standpoint, then at least use what star power he has remaining to help get other people over.
And he did get this. He did take this L to Takeshita last night.
Protected to a degree because Don Callis stabbed him in the head with a screwdriver.
Yeah.
But yeah, Takeshita got the win at least. Made him tap out to the walls of Jericho. Sorry, the Lion Tamer.
Like if the idea is Jericho should be in a feud with Joe for the title, like for a big marquee match, Joe versus Jericho, like I don't know. I don't think Jericho's booked, and that has been booked, and maybe that's sort of the crux of the argument is that he should have been booked in that sort of top role. But it's like, how many times can you go to that well? He was champion for a long time. I don't know how many people really care to see him as champion now.
No, and here's the thing, too. If he's just booked as a top guy because he's got the huge contract without doing anything interesting to correspond with being booked as a top guy, people are going to sour on it
big time.
Super quick.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The reason that people are intrigued by Swerve, Hangman Joe is because Swerve, Hangman, and Joe are all doing really good work.
Yeah, they're doing relevant stuff. Even in like sports, how often have we seen, when did Scottie Pippen get his big contract? When he was way past his prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people will, and oftentimes in wrestling it happens it happens in that way as well. People do the work to get themselves in a position to get the contract, and they get the contract and they've already done their best work, but now they're a name. And so you get the big contract, and in wrestling there could be more longevity to that, but yeah, just because he's the top paid guy, and I understand he is probably still one of the top 5, maybe even top 3 name guys there, but in terms of what people will tune in for, I'll have to look at the quarter hours and everything to see if Jericho can pop. I mean, certainly he can pop a bigger rating than half the people on the roster.
Yeah.
But, he's not the guy that is going to be taking your company to new heights right now, man. It's 2024.
No.
Come on.
No, he's not. And thankfully they're not booking him as such.
No,
even if he is making a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wrestlers on AEW's roster that's doing far more vital and interesting work than Chris Jericho, and in the main event scene especially, they're focusing on those wrestlers to the benefit, I think, of the company. If it was Jericho doing this thing he's doing now, which is like, even he comes out for his entrance, he just seems like he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, I think he might have got.
He taps the bat on the top turnbuckle and just, I don't know.
He might have got pretty shaken up by those, the Twitter allegations.
Could be.
But because that was a pretty big deal for a second. Speaking of main events, Darby Allin and Sting challenging Bill Big and Ricky Starks. When's Ricky Starks' contract up?
I don't know. I think sometime this year.
That's a dude who needs to be in big, high-profile singles feuds, especially now that they've lost their AEW tag titles. This was fun. It was Tornado, so they just went all over the place with it. Mm-hmm. Of course, Darby doing crazy shit. Sting, he'll probably do this at Revolution as well, but if he doesn't, this might be his last jump from the vomitorium. Launching himself off. Big Bill, God bless his soul, love him, catching Sting like a pro. Mm-hmm. This was a lot. This was a lot of fun. It was a really fun match. Sting in the twilight of his career now has really kind of mastered the art of these
tornado tag matches that go all over the place.
Talk about a guy who's been able to sort of bizarrely remain completely and totally relevant. Also, probably a hugely paid guy by AEW, and that's
apparently
Sting.
super selfless.
Yeah, he didn't even want to be part of it.
Fightful had a thing today about how he didn't want to win titles.
He didn't even want to be included in title matches.
Nope.
Yeah, which is awesome. And it's that level of like, hey, I'm here, I'm a big deal, but I'm not the center of attention. That I feel like that other guy probably
Still
should have paid
relishes
attention
that level
to.
of attention. Yeah,
I think in Jericho's case, he probably understood that from the get, he was a big deal for AEW. But it's like, and sometimes it's difficult to reassess and be like, hey, you know what? It's 2024. It's not 2019 anymore.
Yeah.
And I should be taking on more of a Sting role. But Sting remained, you know, and I think so much of it is like, this guy is so old, and you can tell that he's there for the ride to help people, and he's willing to do some crazy ass shit. And the relationship with Darby, I think they probably should have feuded, but I also can't complain about that relationship.
Yeah.
It really is something special, and I hope that, you know, past Revolution, Darby's able to take from that and really get up to that next level. You know, like a feud with him and Malachi, singles feud,
it'd be great.
could be wildly fun.
That
could be wildly fun, you know?
It really could be. It really could be. So the finish of this, Sting looking for a splash in the corner. Ricky Starks evades that in the process, rips off the top turnbuckle cover, so Sting splashes right into that top turnbuckle, exposed. Starks sets up for a spear, but he hesitates for a second because he's like, oh man, this is Sting. It's the icon.
Mm-hmm.
But then Sting starts pounding on his chest. Starks hits the spear. Sting kicks out. So Ricky sets up for another spear. Sting catches him, hits him with a Scorpion Death Drop to get the win. So Sting's family was sitting ringside, so he waves in his two sons. So they come into the ring. They're celebrating. There's confetti going off. Bryce Remsburg, the ref, hands Sting and Darby their titles, raises their hand. Confetti's falling. Young Bucks hit the ring, all dressed in white baseball bats, and start blasting Sting and Darby with them. Darby gets busted open. He's bleeding all over Matt. The Young Bucks take out Sting's sons, too, with the baseball bats.
Yeah.
And they end up hitting Darby with a EVP trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then Matt holds up Sting, and Nick hammers him with the bat just repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got Sting laid out. You got Darby a bloody mess. You got Sting's sons laid out too.
Mm-hmm.
The Young Bucks staying in the ring just covered in Darby's blood.
Yeah, it was a great video.
It was a good way to build heat for that match, which will
really
probably be
was.
the main event of Revolution, I would imagine.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Who do you think is gonna win that? This ain't the go home math. You know, there's still a month left. If it's Sting's decision, he'll lay down.
You'd think so.
And I feel like it's they I mean, from all indications, the reports are they're letting Sting call the shots here.
Yeah.
If the Young Bucks step up and are like, nah, man, we're going to take this loss. It's going to be a big deal, and you guys can just vacate. I kind of feel like that's probably the way it's going to go. I feel like the Young Bucks are going to be like, hey, we're going to be the big bads, but we need to get out of this show with a really special moment. And that's got, I mean, they could do the thing where the Bucks win and they still give Sting his big ovation, but I feel like Sting's got to win this match and go out on top. He's special, man. He's special.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of
Seems like such a cool guy.
Yeah, he seems like a cool dude. Would you like to answer some questions?
Would you like to look at the television, Mr. Lee? First up, J Smooth 619 says, with AEW Dynamite Big Business being announced. I love this question. If both of you had your own big solo show based around Steven Larson debuting, what would the name be? Big Dummies.
There you go.
Action Coast Wrestling presents Big Dummies. Oh my God, Steven Larson gonna wrestle? What a bunch of big dummies.
Action Coast Wrestling Shit Twins. That was like back in the 10 for the Win days. That was like one of the first insults we got.
Yeah.
And I found it so hilarious.
Yeah, we started using it for everything.
We did.
Look at these guys, the Shit Twins. You got that right,
twins.
buddy.
Timor here says, should Mercedes Mone go straight for the women's title in her first feud or go in a different direction? No, because I feel like if she goes right after Tony Storm and that belt,
She got to win it.
she's going to have to win it, and then what's next? It would just feel like, hey, short term, we're going to try to maximize the popper and get Mercedes being here. But I feel like if you want to show real dedication to booking her creative and the women's division's creative long term, tell some stories before she gets into title contention.
I think this is what you do. You get Mercedes. You get Athena, and you get Sky Blue into a stable together.
Sky Blue's already in a state. She's basically House of Black at this point.
She leaves that stable, goes to Mercedes stable.
Okay.
And then you've got sort of like three layers. You have your big main eventer in Mercedes. You've got like your super workhorse, but awesome personality heel in Athena. And she's got the title. So the faction has a title, but Mercedes doesn't really need that. And then you got Sky Blue, the one they're building up, and she could turn on them, and Athena could turn on Mercedes. So you got a bunch of different dynamics there. And then you get some more factions with the women, because then you get more women involved. You do factions, but you keep the feuds with singles.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you do. Anyways. John in Alistair voice was John was at Dynamite last night. Said it was really fun. He gave us a breakdown here. Big pop. Sting swerve Blackpool Combat Club. Big pop for a move. Sting's dive. Big Bill's boss man slam to Darby, which was
that
awesome.
was amazing.
Wasn't that great?
Gosh, that was so good.
Big Booze goes to the Bucks, Big Bill, and Hangman when he did his thing. I didn't was there a Seth Rollins reference last night? He says no pop. He just says no pop, Seth Rollins. That's just a Roman thing.
Gotcha. That's funny.
That was good. That was good.
Alex Washington here says, do you think Mustafa Ali is putting together one of the greatest indie runs we have ever seen? I know the bar is Cody and Drew, but watching Ali, it's like he never left a major company with all this production around him. That's one thing that he has implemented that Cody and Drew didn't, is that he feels like he goes in any of these independent shows and feels like an enormous star.
So let me ask you this, because we're trying to keep it honest here.
Yeah.
Is his indie run, and to a degree, Dolph Ziggler's foray into indie wrestling, the most unfortunately timed runs? Because, dude, look, I see their stuff on Twitter, but they're not exactly getting the kind of traction that they probably would have gotten if like the news cycle hadn't been so insane in wrestling.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
Like it is, I honestly, like, it might be a terrific run. The production for all these stuff I've seen on Twitter, it's all great, but like, I don't really pick up much of a buzz from it. Same with like Dolph being in TNA. I don't really see a whole lot going on there because everything else is so fucking crazy these days.
Yeah, no, that's true.
In more of a vacuum of a news cycle after cycle after cycles era, I think they would have gotten a lot more attention. But
even with Cody and Drew, it took them a while to get that attention, though. Like Cody was wrestling at pretty small independent shows, and you come out with his, his bomber jacket. Mm-hmm. That was his thing for a while.
Yeah,
he was opening the first PWG show we went to against Trevor Lee.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it wasn't like he was instantly in main events at every indie show he was at.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you know, so it took Cody a while for him to build up to that point.
Yeah.
What the heck?
There's a little hair on my microphone. Let's see here. White Brownie, I saw this on Twitter too. Not a question. I hope Rock pulls an Osprey if the crowd boos him today. Oh, pipe down, bro.
No, he just puts his hand out.
Yeah. Your butt cheek smell, fans.
Says The Rock says.
Yeah, no, apparently that little promo of his on Pat McAfee's making the rounds right now.
I saw that too.
And it's pretty damn. I'm looking forward to hearing it because a lot of people are saying it's like Hollywood Rock. Like it's heel rock.
Yeah.
Crybaby Cody fans. Saying, hey, Dad, go play the football. Not now. Cody's got to finish his story. Wife says, come on, let's go have sex. Not now. Cody's got to finish the story. I'm like, how did you know, Rock? How did you know? Well, you got cameras in my house, Rock?
Cat Dead 7 says, what if Cody inserts himself in the Rock Roman match and ends up stacking them both? The only question is, what's the order of the stack?
Man.
Rock wouldn't allow himself to be the bottom of the stack.
Yeah, Rock can't be the bottom of the stack. But here's the thing: he might not have a choice. One leapfrog, both quads blown off the bone, just
Could
explode.
He
can't get to the top of the stack. Middle of the stack.
I guess not. In that case,
he's on the bottom. Sorry, Rock. Equally terrible says, with Scott D'Amore no longer working for TNA Anthem and TKO having a clean house, how likely is it TKO could potentially hire D'Amore for WWE? I think it'd be a great hire. I don't know what Scott D'Amore wants to do though.
Yeah,
I mean, if he was looking to buy TNA, he might want an empire build.
Could be. Blake Whitehouse here asks, what's something you both wear regularly that Hangman Page would clown you for, like Steve clowns him for his flower pants?
Oh yeah.
Do you think Page would be a fan of my Volt hoodie I wore yesterday?
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe not. He's like, you're burning holes in my eyes.
It's like,
man.
what? You work the night shift on construction or something?
Yeah, right. He'd be like, hey, Steve, I feel like that hairline of yours is getting a little thin. Is that why you're wearing hats all the time? I'm like, listen, Hangman, listen. It ain't 2015 anymore, buddy.
Nope.
AJ Otani, this is a good question. If Rock could politic his way into any main event in Mania history, which one would you like to see?
Maybe Mania 31.
Oh. What, make it a four? How would that work? Make it a four-way?
Well, after Seth cashes in, yeah.
Oh, okay. Rock, Brock, Roman, that's a hell of a three-way right there to start off. Yeah. And then Seth's trying to maneuver those. I remember, boy, that was so thrilling.
That really was.
Seth's in there with two monsters, especially Brock. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. Yeah, boy, that was thrilling.
That was.
He really was like the proxy for all of us there, man.
He really was.
That was something crazy.
It was. Yeah. It was. Luis here says, if you had to pick one, who would you rather see debut at Big Business? It's only one, Steve. Okada or Mercedes?
Oh, it's Mercedes.
It's Mercedes. They have Boston, Boston in the back around the graphic. If they have that in there, Mercedes doesn't debut.
Yeah, they got to deliver.
Like,
on
what are
Mercedes.
they doing? It's got to be Mercedes. It's Mercedes.
Corey Fightful and Andrew Zarian, she's been under contract for a while now.
It's January at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
We've got a couple questions here about Scott D'Amore that we covered earlier.
Elemental Giant says, do you think the main reason Tony Khan is mocked so much because he's such a bad promo? I don't think he's even a bad promo.
Wait, say again?
Says, do you think the main reason Tony Khan is mocked so much is because he's a bad promo? No, I kind of feel like it's because he takes pot shots. And when you are in the position he's in and you start acting like kind of a petty wrestling fan, that's not a good look. And I think he gets mocked for that. Like, nobody was mocking him back when he was on Impact doing the
paid ads. Those were
that
great.
Shit was hilarious.
It was really good.
I think it's that. I think there's also him being so unapologetic about his own booking philosophy.
Yeah.
I think there's also an element of that.
That could be.
Yeah.
That could be.
Anyways,
that's all the questions I got.
Yeah, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for the show, right? Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope you'll join us at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the big WWE press event. This should be interesting. The Rock says, "Know your damn role. Your butt cheeks
Shut
smell."
Your mouth.
We'll see you guys later.
The shut your mouth wasn't directed towards you, Steve.
Shut your mouth. Your butt cheeks smell.